Finally I can sit down and relax because you see that guy back there? He's gonna work on that motorcycle today.
I got this.
Hello my friends and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. I am working on is this a 2007? 2009 Harley Rocker-C today with my buddy Marion here. And he said he's going to do actually the maintenance on this, but it's in my garage and I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a little bit of it. But he wants to learn how to work on his bike. Promised him I'd help him out. We got it up on the stand here. If you have one of these stands, it makes it a lot nicer. At least you can work on stuff without being crouching around on your hands and knees. Today we are going to do engine oil change, transmission oil change, and we are also flushing the brake fluid, front and back. So we're going to start with the oil change because he just rode it here and the bike's nice and warm. So if you have one of these bikes, a lot of cruiser bikes, they're very low. So my oil drain pan wouldn't fit underneath there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, I have an empty oil jug here, and we're going to cut this out. It fits underneath here nicely. So do oil change on a Harley Rocker-C. Here's your oil tank. And the oil drain is kind of directly underneath here. It was very confusing to me at first. So let me see if I can get you under here and show you where it's at. Here, we're going upside down. It is right there. That bolt right there. And that's a 5/8 inch. Sorry about being upside down. We'll bring you back right side up. So it's directly kind of underneath where your foot peg is. So what you want to do is loosen that up. You know what that is right here?
No. But I will figure it out.
This is a ratchet and a 5/8 inch.
5/8.
Okay, so what we want to do is which way is loose and which way is
This
tight?
way. Yeah.
You sure?
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, this tightens, so I go this way.
You sure?
Yeah.
You might want to check that.
I'm upside down. Oh shit. Never mind.
Counterclockwise. So what I'm going to recommend for this this young man here learning how to work on things is to get on there good, loosen it initially, and then since we have such a limited amount of space here, we get it loose, and then you're going to take it off with your fingers once we cut this.
Okay.
So just break it loose. There you go, and that's all you need to do. Now we stop. Okay, so there's your low bucks oil drain pan. And actually, you could use this to drain oil on anything if you want, as long as it's less than 4 quarts, because this only holds 1 gallon, so you don't want to drain 5 quarts into there. So he's got that loosened already down there. We're going to open up the oil fill, because that will allow the oil to drain out. You know, otherwise it will be kind of a vacuum. It'll still go, but you can just set that down wherever you want. And now I'm happily sitting down here, and he's got to kind of try to reach under there and get that out of there. There's not a lot of room. If you have a motorcycle jack, that's actually probably the easiest thing. Still kind of coming out tight?
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. We've spilled oil in the garage before, so if you spill some oil, it's okay. Yeah, they sell those like little scissors jacks that go underneath. Those work pretty good. What you might have to do is pull that socket off of here. There you go. And then stick the whole thing in here like that. There you go.
Okay.
That might work.
Might. If I get it in there.
It's working or no?
Yeah.
Or you could take the extension off as well and do it that way.
I might need the extension. Actually, I might not. These songs.
He got it.
I got it.
Now on this drain plug, hang on before you wipe that all off. On this drain plug, this end is a magnet. So you want to look closely at that and see if there's any like crazy amount of stuff. There's a little bit of chunks of stuff on there, but it's nothing too crazy. But if that's all covered with a lot of metal or something, then you may have engine troubles. There's always going to be a little bit of stuff. You see what we got on there? Yeah. But the drain plug has a magnet on it. So we let this drain, and I'm just going to continue to sit back and relax. This is kind of nice, actually.
Does it?
One more thing to look at on your oil plug here is this O-ring. Some people like to change them every change. Other people like to inspect them. I'm sure Harley will sell you that O-ring for $3 or $4, but you can buy a generic O-ring set for about the same price. But just take a look at it. Probably by manufacturer's recommendations, you should change it every time. So I will just say change it every time. In my garage, I inspect it. Another thing that we noticed on here was there was some white sealant on these threads. I believe that's another thing that some people like to do, is put a little bit of thread seal on here. So you could do that if you'd like. We may. Okay, we're reduced to just a couple of little drips here every couple seconds, so we're going to reinstall it. I put a little bit of this thread sealant on there, and I changed out that O-ring with one I had. So, and then you can also use an Allen wrench here to install it. Actually, I highly recommend you just turn it in by your fingers first there, buddy. Because if you use the tool to install it, there's a good chance you could cross-thread it. And that would be bad.
So once you get them done like that, you go and use the tool. There you go.
And these drain plugs have a torque value. I believe this one is 14 to 21 foot-pounds. I'm gonna get a torque wrench, and I don't know if Mr. Marion here has used a torque wrench before or not, but he's going to. Okay, so have you used a torque wrench before ever?
No.
Okay, so this is a torque wrench, and what this does is it's going to tighten that to a certain specification. When you tighten it, you're going to feel this thing make a little click at the end of it. If you've never used it before. There's fancier new ones now that actually beep, which will make it easier, so I'm going to help you out on this since you've never done it before, because you don't want to over tighten it. And ratchet it back. There you go. All right, stop. Hear that?
Yeah.
That means you've reached your torque spec.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we are done with that. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add oil. I am not going to preach to you religions, politics, or oil. Read your owner's manual. Put in the specified type and amount of oil that is in the owner's manual. And if you would like to do something different, by all means do so. So we will not be letting you know a type or brand of oil to put in here. Just read your owner's manual and do what's in there, or whatever makes you sleep at night. Okay, we just got done putting oil in here. We put a little bit over 2.5 quarts. Somebody didn't bring the manual here, but we looked it up, and it says between 2.8 and 3 quarts for this. So what we're going to do is we get a little bit over 2.5. You install it, make sure everything that you took out is reinstalled with the drain plug and that, and then we're going to fire the bike up, let it run for a little bit, and then let it sit, and then check that. So then we'll be done with the oil. Oh wait, what else did we forget to do? Oil filter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crazy asses. Okay. We got so excited. It's okay though. Oil filter. This is just like a car oil filter. You spin this one right off. We're going to install the new one. That's what I get for letting this guy run the show. The bike's not going to be nearly as fast because we're going from a chrome filter to a black one. Now the position on these bikes is kind of terrible because it makes a big oil mess. So we're going to wipe that all up before we install the new one. So when you install your new filter, you just tighten it down by hand. So just till it touches, and then turn it just a little bit more. You don't want to use the tool to tighten that because it will just kind of basically bake itself on there. It'll be really hard to get off. Man.
Use your happy socks so you won't slip.
My happy sock that.
Okay, after we ran it for a while, we let it sit for 30 seconds or so, and we check it. So we pull it out, and we are right between the full hot and the add line, which is good. We could top it all the way off if we want to up to here. So we could add a couple more ounces, but that is within limits right there. One thing I want to note is that we are on this stand here and we are upright and level. So you're not supposed to check it on the side stand. So we're gonna, what do you want to do? You want to add a couple ounces?
Yeah, just a
okay.
little bit.
So we'll add a couple ounces and then we're gonna move on to doing the transmission. All right, so transmission fluid. First thing you want to do when you're draining a transmission or even on a car, like a rear differential, that sort of thing, is you always want to open up your fill plug first, because sometimes they can be a real pain. And if you drain it first and then you don't open the fill plug and you can't get it open, then you're stranded. So the fill plug on this one is buried way up under there. It looks like a real pain in the ass to get off. So I don't know what size that is. 3/8 inch maybe, Alan? So we'll try to get that off, and then the drain for this is kind of directly underneath here on these soft tails. Let me bring you upside down again. I can't even really see it myself. You got the two shocks sitting there parallel. It should be right up underneath here. I can't see, so there, I can see it now. Right there. It's gonna be another pain in the ass. We'll bring in the homemade drain pan, but we're gonna try to get this loose first. Well, we're hoping that's not too tight, because look, his hand is jammed in there and we're right next to the exhaust. We were just running the engine. That is a 3/8 inch. So lefty loosey, remember, counterclockwise, so towards the exhaust. Is it turning?
It's actually easy.
Okay,
What?
good. All right, well, at least it turned. Just because it's easy doesn't mean our lives are easy, because it's so far in there. I think maybe a long one, maybe with a wobble tip, might work the best, but we'll get that out of there. Well, if anyone who's ever worked on one of these Rocker-Cs wants to give us a tip on how to get that out easier, we'd appreciate it, because it's pretty tight fit getting in there. I don't even know if you could get in there with one of those wobble tip drives, maybe, but we got it out. All right, there's a dipstick attached to this. So the next thing we're gonna do is get underneath there where I showed you. We use our little drain pan. It's the same 5/8 or 1/4 inch to remove that and drain that out. And then we'll be refilling that. He's on it. We got the drain plug moving. And yeah, real hard to see underneath there. Like I said, if you get one of those scissor style jacks and you can lift this up, it might be a little bit easier. At this point, we're just kind of looking underneath there. And we're gonna try to get that loose. Try not to get it all the way out, but if we do, we get this ready to go. We can just slide it right there. A little bit of spilled oil, it's not gonna hurt anything. It happened so quick we missed it, but yeah, as he was threading it out, the drain plug popped out and we just slid this over. Spilled a little bit of oil, no biggie. This one also has a magnet, and look at the O-ring on this one. It's in sad shape. Looks like some amazing place. Instead of replacing it, just put some silicone or something around it. I've got one of these little O-ring assortments, so we'll replace it. It's really kind of nice just sitting here and watching someone else work. I'm enjoying it, but he's reinstalling that. We put a new O-ring on it. I put a little bit of this thread seal. Like I said, I've never done that on motorcycle drain plugs before, but maybe it's a Harley thing. I don't work on a lot of Harleys. But he's getting it in there. We're going to torque this one as well to 14 to 21 foot-pounds, so he's get to use the torque wrench one more time. He's going to be pretty well versed on using that torque wrench at this point. And then once we do that, we are going to do our best to get in here and fill this. Hey, hi. There you go. All right, I wanted to point something out here, that sometimes moving your vantage point helps. I don't know how well we're gonna be able to see this on here, but yeah, I should get a light. I'm kind of blocking it, but from this side, you can see the drain plug. It's up under up under here. Anyway, you can't see it very good on the video. And for this, we had to use the 1/4-inch Allen wrench to torque it because the socket wouldn't fit between the shocks. Now we're going to fill it up. Okay, so the fill on this thing, like I said, you can see it's really in an awkward spot way down in there. So there's lots of different things you could do. You get a really long, thin funnel. I'm going to use this, I've got this piece of clear hose with a little 90-degree bend on it on the end there. I'm going to put that in there. And we are going to be filling this with something other than what's recommended by the manufacturer. And I am going to repeat one more time that you should use whatever oil is going to make you feel happy and make you sleep well at night. Feel free to research if you want to run something different than the manufacturer's recommendations, but for video purposes, I'm not going to show you what we're putting in here, but I will say that read the level, how much is supposed to go in there, and then put in your choice of lubricant. All right, after we filled it up, we tightened that down. We didn't torque it, so I'm sure someone's going to complain about that, but like I said, if you know how to get in there better than we did with some sort of a bit of some sort, let me know, because I'd like to know. It's a really tight fit in there. But it is tight, and our transmission is complete. Transmission oil change. So the next thing we're going to do is the brake fluid, and we're going to flush the brake fluid. We're also going to change out these caps. You see this aluminum cap here, and the paint is peeling off of it. I guess this is a common problem, you said? Yeah, so Mr. Marion here has read on the forums that this is a common problem. Yeah, look at all that powdery crap coming out of there. So we're going to remove this cover. He got some replacement. Ooh, shiny. And we're also going to flush out the brake fluid. Okay, to start, we're going to remove this cover here. Or my little mechanic assistant is going to remove it. Now, I don't work on Harleys a whole lot, but I keep forgetting that everything on these is standard, not metric, which also includes these screws, which if you've watched some of my videos, mess around, I always talk about Japanese industrial standard, JIS. Does not apply here. And you can see that fluid is a amber color, which it is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be clear. So we're going to forego my Thanksgiving turkey here. We're going to use my turkey basting syringe. We're going to remove that fluid out of there. Then we're going to add fresh fluid, and then we are going to bleed the brakes out to get the rest of it out of the system. Just push that thing all the way down in the bottom. There you go. All right. We get her cleaned out. We're adding some fresh fluid. Look how nice and clear that is. And you can add it about 3/4 or so. Should be enough. And then we are going to bleed the brakes. I've already got the brake bleeder screw on the back here, so we're not going to go through the whole process. I don't think I need to. There's lots of brake bleeding videos out there, but we're just going to cycle it until clear fluid comes out of here. And then I'll show you installing the nice new fancy cover. How hard was that to do, Marion?
It was actually really easy.
We spent about 2 minutes off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
And one person can actually do it.
Nice to have another buddy in the garage so they can, you know, laugh at you and drink beer while you're working. But bleeders here. We got fresh fluid all the way through there, and we're installing these fancy new chrome covers, and they even come with new screws. And they weren't too terribly expensive either, I don't believe, right?
Nah.
So, there you go. It looks a little bit nicer than this crusty one here. And then we're gonna do the front one as well, and then we'll wrap her up. Yeah, basting that turkey. Let me show you a little bit closer on here what I'm talking about, how that, that's why that brake fluid eats through the paint and then it starts corroding this aluminum. That's why those covers get bad. But you can see even this master cylinder is pretty nasty. So we'll clean the rest of this one out, bleed it, and then we'll be good to go on the front. And that's a good looking pair right there, man. I mean, this one. And that one's okay too. But how do you wrap up some maintenance here? You get some burgers.
With bacon.
Look at that. That looks pretty tasty. Little drive-through place here close to the house, but you know, worked on the bikes, got some food. Dig it.
Hey, thank you for everything, Tom.
All right.
Appreciate it.
That's what I do. All right. If you're digging what I'm putting out, give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Send me a burger if you'd like, or you could also subscribe. That'd be cool. I don't know what I would rather have, subscribers or burgers.
Subscribers. It's free.
How about, yeah, but burgers are good. I can't eat some, well, maybe you could. We'll cover that on another video. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.